this thing on. Hi, Ryan Guidry here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, coming at you for an episode of What the Hell's Going On in the World. I'll tell you what, this is going to be my first YouTube video here with Bailey, my pup, and we're going to talk a little bit about mutual respect and what goes on at colleges such as the one here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, LSU State University, because it seems to be something that's missing in the world and something that a lot of people need to hear. This morning, Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, very intelligent man, told an incredible story that almost really blew my mind and how much I can relate to him. And I always knew I could relate to Charles because we have very similar ways in the way in which we think beyond comprehension of most people, but it's because we don't limit ourselves to what we're told, and we take advantage of that. And that's really the only way to be happy with your own life, is what I've come to learn now. So I need to share this with you all. I'm a chemical engineering student at LSU. This is the first video I've done for this YouTube channel in a while. I don't really use this YouTube channel to post, but I was quite a prolific YouTube user back in my day, maybe 2008-9, on a channel called Go One Bros with my two buddies, Jason and Chandler. And we just made videos for fun, and if we would have stuck with it, we'd probably be millionaires. So I would say, if you're viewing this video for the first time, no matter your age, no matter your location in the world, start making YouTube videos. If anything, it's for you to remember who you were, where you're from, and where you're at in the moment in time that you're thinking about something. But the best part about this is that I've learned a lot in my time during my studies at LSU, mostly from my failures. What I've done that other people have not been able to do ever in the history of what I know to be modern academia and universities. And I need to share my story with you all, because I'm at a point in time where I'm being limited by people in positions of power who do not know as much as I know about the way in which the world works. Or maybe they do, and they just don't want to share that information, or they're scared to lose the position by fighting the system. And it's okay to have a system. Systems are great. But I want to share with you all what I know to be true as a chemical engineer, a self-labeled chemical engineer, because by law you can't say you're a chemical engineer unless you work 5 years out of college and pass the professional engineering exam after 5 years of working after college. Every state's different, but most college students don't know that. And spending 10 years in college, well, I started in 2014. I'll speak more about this at a later date, but I check every box for what should not be known as a privileged student, because as soon as the DEI, diversity, equity initiative started years back, everyone else has been labeled as what we know to be I guess in layman terms, say unique in a situation that they deserve to have better options than other people. And that's not true at all. Especially today, with the reset of the internet that's just occurred, everything is changing. Everything. From the biggest to the smallest things happening on the internet, in my experience, having grown up since 1995, learning so many things, so many tools, being told Wikipedia was not a good resource back in the day. I'm talking first grade, second grade, third grade, sixth grade. No teacher ever said Wikipedia was good for an academic resource. Wikipedia is the best information you'll ever find on the internet. And if you understand the way that it works and the importance of the information on there, you can find yourself learning nothing in a rabbit hole or being extremely successful, self-learning, self-teaching, self-writing technical reports, academic reports, using the resources that they provide and the great tools. But this conversation isn't about that today. This conversation is about finally understanding what it means to be a communicator in a world where people don't understand you. People will think you're a failure. One second. Kick the ball for her. Man, that girl's a Navy SEAL. You should see her in the pool. Won't give up in the grass. Soccer player too, but man, the pool, she's crazy. I hope to make my little setup better next time, but I wanted to talk today about mutual respect. I know it's crazy. Most people, have you ever heard of this? You should have heard of it, but it's crazy because in the college and academic system, it doesn't exist. And if that was one thing that I would add, it would be mutual respect, because with that comes the understanding that everybody's different. Sorry, I'm in Louisiana. I got all these mosquitoes. And she already wants the ball again. So, with that understanding of mutual respect as a form of, you could say money, you could say knowledge, you could say understanding, you could say kindness. But if it's one of any of those four simple things that I've labeled just now, mutual respect is the key to solving all the problems that we have in the world right now. And there's a lot of problems in the world right now, mostly because there's people in positions of power who don't really care to know how to actually solve those problems. And there's too many people in positions of power to know how to communicate well with one another and fix those problems. And that's why I'm taking this video today, which has been long overdue, because I've spent my past 9 years in college studying chemical engineering and 1 year in high school studying chemical engineering. Not chemical engineering, I'm sorry. Studying engineering and physics for half of my day each year of my senior year in a program designed to get us ready for the courses in college. Coming out of high school, spending most of my electives in drafting, AutoCAD, electronics, robotics, and loving it, absolutely loving it. But choosing to go into chemical engineering because of what they said that we can do in the industry. They said, your options are limitless. Your options are not limitless, let me promise you that. They are limited to the options by the college that chooses to help you most and the physical location of that college. If you choose to go into chemical engineering, you will be absolutely mind blown by the ignorance of the people teaching the subjects of the subjects in the curriculum. And it's all BS, every bit of it. The teachers, the administration. It's a subject that hasn't changed its course of action in over 100 years. They call it chemical engineering after we even knew what chemical engineering was, and then label it as if they knew what the hell was going on in the world. For example, Louisiana, one of the highest exports is sugarcane. So we started off at school as sugarcane engineering. My family's from Galliano, Louisiana, Golden Meadow, Louisiana. We spent a lot of our time in Grand Isle still. And it's weird that it just so happens that not a word of sugarcane engineering or the processes involved is spoken about in the curriculum. Now, why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's because somebody else is controlling the sugarcane industry. Maybe not. Maybe they need more jobs in the refining and chemicals industry. Maybe so. Well, I'll tell you now that they really don't need jobs anywhere. No, not in those positions. And I'll further explain this in other videos. But once the chemical refining or petrochemical processes are in place, they need you no longer. If you would like to make $100 grand per year before taxes, that leaves you with about 70 grand per year after taxes and stuff, considering the tax rate today of the federal and state governments. That means that 10 people working for a company would cost that company $1 million per year. And to keep it simple, it'll cost them about $1 million per year just to pay salaries. Now, they have benefits and all these other things that are worth, quite a bit, and that should be taken into account. But it's a broken system because you can't tell the world that chemical engineering needs people. We need people. We need a labor force that's willing to work as engineers. And they really don't tell you that you don't even come out of college labeled as an engineer. It's against the law to use the term ENGINEER. EER, my fault. By itself without passing the PE, the Professional Engineering Licensure Exam. And I'm sitting here as a 9th year undergrad student who's been denied services which we paid for and we're told would be outstanding, which they continue to pride themselves on, that don't exist. They will exist in the future, and I'm thankful for the faults that I've gone through and the failures that I've had and the love that I've had and the support from my family. But it's only because I've been able to pull through it mindfully, gratefully, respectfully, and honestly, with integrity in everything I did at university, and fight for what I believed to be what the university stood for: excellence. Well, let me tell you, in 2023, there is no more excellence at LSU. It doesn't exist. Not in the professorship, not at the colleges of engineering, at least. I can't so much say for the other ones, but I would imagine since they push STEM like it's some sort of magical thing, that there's no mathematicians coming out of LSU as far as I know. There's no no, there's none. Learn early, learn everything, but question everything at every level, at any moment, to anybody, no matter their position of power. If they are in a position of power and you ask a question that cannot be answered, seek out your peers, seek out the next highest level, Seek out the level above the highest level. Do not be afraid to ask why I'm not being served for the services that I'm paying for, that the taxpayers are paying for, that they're boasting about on their new website, when they're not being received properly. And so I would say, if we had mutual respect among everybody at every level of every position and didn't gloat about the things that we can't do or we can't provide, and we aren't transparent about the systems involved in things like financing a student's ability to go to school, what it costs to live around the area, then we can't innovate. Barriers to innovation will not occur. In chemical engineering, you're taught things like why it sucks to be a chemical engineer, why you'll be no good. You're talked down to, hated on, ignored, assumed to be stupid, dumb, at every level. And then they put people of power in these positions, such as these PhD professors or professional engineers who come in, sit in their offices all day, talk to no one else, will not allow any cross-curriculum studies to occur. Everything has been as it was from the beginning, from the start, cannot be broken. But then they say it's because we need to remain Abbott accredited or SASOC accredited, which is just, there's so many levels of accreditation to freaking schools that none of them even can focus on what exists in reality and what exists online. And they love that because this is where they suck the money right out of every student who just wants to succeed and learn. And if you take initiative and learn for your own self and your own good, then you will know nothing. You'll drop out. You'll hate life. You'll be miserable. And I was fortunate enough to have great parents who've brought me to where I am today in the world. They've given me everything. In 2012, I got a truck. I was 19. Drove their car for a while. It's important to give gratitude where deserved, but also understand that gratitude will not take you to where you need to be in engineering. Because professors and people in power above them, department chairs, do not care about who you are, where you're going, and what you care to do in life. They really don't. And it's a sad thing. I've even offered to take myself out of the engineering process, flow sheet, and just get the general studies degree, the easiest degree they can possibly give me. And they said, the advisors, we can't even, and I offered this after I had 140 hours of credit beyond, so that's 12 hours of credit beyond what's required of a chemical engineering degree. And they said, we can't figure it out. We don't know what that would, we don't know if we can do that because we have no idea how the course numbers translate over. You talk to the undergraduate advisor, they know nothing about a single thing involved in policy. Oh, you broke the disability service initiatives. We need to take these actions. You go in, you fight an appeal, and they ignore you. They have pre-written templates to say, well, did they deny you, office hours? No. Well, no, but he didn't deny me office hours, but if I went in there and asked questions and appealed his decisions, fail me in the course, based on their shitty teaching and their ignorance and initiative quality following their actual accreditation rules. It's just absolutely absurd. And now is the time in history where the internet can take you anywhere you want to be. 5 minutes finding the right YouTube video, 12 minutes, an hour, 4 hours listening to somebody's different perspective, like Lex Friedman, Charles Hoskinson, Richard Feynman, Stephen Wolfram. Now, these are some of the most incredible people you could find on YouTube. There's also a lot of really young, smart, innovative, curious, incredible videos as well that can help you out. So never feel lost, because there's so much more to learn than what they require you to. I've been stuck in the curriculum since 2014, like I said. And that's because they've only offered some courses in the fall, some courses in the spring, but in chemical engineering at least, there is no room for creation. There's no room for collaboration. There's no room for teamwork in the curriculum. And it's very, very sad, because that's what it takes to be an engineer. You have to communicate. And if you can't communicate, then what's the purpose of even being an engineer? Because otherwise you have to figure out everything yourself. Engineering is a science. It's a math. It's both philosophical, artistic, creative, architectural. And it all comes down to chemical engineering as the foundation for what it means to be any sort of engineer. And we need change. We need governance. We need continuously changing innovation of the course curriculum, governed by people who care about the students in their program. I think I've even offered to teach a course for free, just because I know I can do it better than the ones in current positions of power. In fact, we recently had a president come in from the university after a few scandals. Happens every few years. Scandals at LSU, rape, murder, bad police work, fighting, drug deals, robbery. I've seen all this, experienced it all. But they're quick to blame somebody else all the time. LSU is governed by nobody else but themselves and the people that run the Senate, the board of trustees, and they just steal money from students, take donations out the wazoo, and say, we need more money from the students. They add fees. They remove the parking. They force freshmen to stay in college dorms that are overly expensive. And then say, scholarship first. Well, what they don't tell you is that after your first year, you get out of the Center for Academic Success and the College of Freshmen, or whatever the freshman, it was so long ago I can't remember. But after you leave freshman year, your GPA dropped down from a 4.0 to a 3.2 because you got 1C in sociology or whatever some BS class was that they made you take. That was probably actually the most important class that you could understand, look back on it. Sociology, psychology, whatever electives you take. Those are all important as well. Or you didn't do well in math, or if you had to take your first English, whatever it might be. Oh, then you lose the tops. You lose your ACT score rewards. You lose it, and it doesn't come back. And then you continuously can't bring up your GPA, and you're gonna look for help advising, where should I go, what should I do? And they say, well, talk to the college that you're in. Talk to your advisors. There is no advisors in chemical engineering at LSU. There's engineering student services. There's no one to serve you there, but they're there. There is no advisor. There's no need to see an advisor, but this is an initiative that happens all across the country. All across the country. More specifically by region, based on what the state imports and exports and what chemical processes they have. But we don't need... The problems are solved. The processes are in place to make the people the most money who hold their stocks. The people who started. The people who started so long ago. Exxon, Shell, Valero. And they're moving business out of the country, offshore, because of something like the Green New Deal, the Green Initiative, green, this, green, that. But if you hear anything from this, it's not that you can't do it. It's just that when you do it, if you choose to be a chemical engineer, it's much more rewarding than anyone could ever imagine, because of what you can teach yourself with the fundamentals of the internet and the Great Reset that's occurring right now and has been occurring for a while under the guise or I should say under many guises of the government's initiatives such as DEI, equity, inflation, controlling inflation, attempt to control inflation, blatant attempt to ignore the governance that blockchain allows us or will allow us to be able to avoid situations like this. But it all starts from an early age. It's nature, it's nurture, but it's not the color of your skin. It's not where you live. It's the people you surround yourself with and what you can do with the brain that you have. So this is an open letter to anyone who's willing to collaborate on making college better for everyone involved in the process. At every level. There should be no glass ceilings. There should be an elevator that can fit everybody. And stairs to escape if there's a fire. So, with that said, I hope to do more videos after this one. This is the first video I've done in a while. I haven't even been on camera, so I couldn't hold back anymore. I've surpassed hundreds of hours of curriculum studies, which I plan to calculate out soon and provide, a real number of what my value as a human is worth, because I guess maybe that's what matters. Studying chemical engineering, extra chemical engineering electives, numerous hours of professional development hours in safety courses, internships with Georgia Pacific, Emerson Automation Solutions, Cornerstone Chemicals, Nalco Champion, DWL Technologies, in sorts of ways that graduates today just do not comprehend. Do not comprehend. And I'm willing to help anybody who has any question about the processes involved. Bailey too. Bailey will help too. So let's do this together. Let's make engineering better for everyone, easier for everyone to understand, and cut out BS initiatives and the purposeful intent to keep engineering students in engineering longer than the 4 years that they say you can get that degree. 4 years. You come out of engineering in 4 years, you know nothing. I promise you that. And if you haven't failed once, I promise you that you've definitely never, you've never experienced what it means to be an engineer if you haven't failed once. If you're worried about GPA, due to money issues or the inability to pay for school, that's understandable. But once you lose that, it's not about the money. Get out when you can and teach yourself if need be. Or ask me, and I'll give you the right resources, to the right places to look. Go to your local library. Go to the internet library. Engineering tools all over the internet. I plan to post some comments down below, along with a couple links to some of the favorite people that I watch on YouTube and really have learned from. So with that, signing off. Hope to do more. And if you feel the same way, drop a comment down below. Drop a like, a subscription. If you want to do a collaboration, a podcast, if you just want to discuss anything, give me a phone call because you feel sad, because you feel like you have no place in life. I am more than happy to tell you why it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel like you're lost, and why you can overcome it if you want to, or you can change to something that you'd like even better. We're in this together. 2023, a great year for everybody. Let's do it.